In this video, we'll discuss how to do a detailed log analysis. A detailed log analysis lets you distinguish the noise from the various log sources from the actual relevant data that you're looking for. An event is an occurrence on the network or on a host. So in our context, we're really talking about an event being written into a log file, but an event might also be related to an email message or a help desk system and so on. Incident responders can look at log information and make a decision as to whether or not a certain issue needs to be escalated. It might need to be escalated because it's outside of the scope of authority of the current technician or could be beyond their skill set. When we configure detailed log analysis settings, there are things that are common regardless of the tool we're using, such as the configuration in the Windows environment of event log settings, like how big the log can grow, where it's stored, and whether it's archived. The same thing is true in the Linux world, whether we use log rotation. Also, we have the option of determining whether or not we want to configure log forwarding to other hosts, so that we have a centralized way to view all logs on a large scale. Incident response actions can also be based on data found within log files. So because this could also be used to make important decisions, we want to make sure that our log data is trustworthy by securing it, whether that means encrypting it or forwarding it to other centrally and hardened logging hosts. Here in the Windows Event Viewer, I've already opened up the Windows system log on my server. If I right-click on that log system in the left-hand navigator, then I can choose properties. And from here, I can see things like the current size of the log and when it was created, modified, or accessed. But down below, we'll find the configurable items, such as what we want to set the maximum log file size to be, and the unit of measurement is kilobytes, and whether we want to archive logs or simply overwrite events as needed, and so on. Now, at the same time, we can also do this kind of work in PowerShell. And sometimes if you want to automate something, it might be easier. Here we've already issued the get-event log commandlet. We've told it we want to look at the Windows security log on this host, and we've asked for the newest 5 entries. So by doing this, we now have a way to capture this information and manipulate it, and therefore automate any massaging of the data that might be required before yielding useful results. In the Linux environment, if we change directory to /var/log and type ls, we'll see a number of log files, and the blue entries are actually subdirectories that contain other log files. So for instance, here I see a file called auth.log for authentication. So if I use the cat command to display the contents of auth.log and pipe that to more, to stop after the first screen full, we can see we have a series of log entries here related to sessions being opened and closed for various users and so on. Now, of course, in Windows, we can right-click on a log and search through it or find something specific. Here in Linux, what we might do is use the cat command against a log and pipe it to the grep line filtering tool. So, for example, if I want to look for something related to the word password, I could filter it using grep, and now I'm only seeing items from auth.log related to the search text password. Another way to comb through log files, either manually or in an automated fashion, might be to use some kind of a log analysis tool, such as in this case, the Splunk Lite tool, where I've already gone and added a couple of log sources here. I've got an SCCM discovery log file, as well as a couple of Linux log files. Now, if I were to click on any of these, for example, I'll click on the Linux daemon.log file here, then I can see it's opened up the log file, and it's giving me the entries in an easy-to-read format, much easier than it appears at the command line on a Linux host at least. And interestingly, a lot of these log analysis tools will let you discern patterns. So here it's telling me there's a 4.11% occurrence of this specific log event, where it's activating a specific service. Also, we'll have the option in log analysis tools to run reports of various kinds, and we'll even be able to configure alert notifications so that we get alerted when certain things happen. We can also build our own custom dashboards that will show us information that is relevant based on what it is that we want to see. So there are various ways then to comb through log files. Depending on your requirements, continuous log monitoring might be required so that you can respond in a timely fashion to any anomalies that are detected. Now, when abnormalities are detected, this is only possible because we already have a baseline of normal activity or log events. Many vendor solutions do have generic databases of abnormalities or known suspicious behavior, but to really have this work properly in your environment, it needs to be tweaked for your environment. You need a baseline of normal activity. That could be at the network level, the host level, but often it's at an application specific level. We can also use log filtering to filter out the noise from log files. We can also use the search capabilities, and this can be automated as we saw, for instance, using PowerShell. We should also always audit log access so we know who has had access to logs at different times and what they did. Example log items that would certainly warrant our attention include things like invalid user messages, failed password, unknown host, invalid key, and so on. Of course, any missing date or time spans within a log are suspicious because it indicates that perhaps the machine or the device was compromised and the attacker cleaned their tracks by wiping some log entries. In this video, we talked about doing a detailed log analysis.